Hello everyone, welcome to the daily editorial analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy, 5th April 2025. Displayed here are the list of articles that we are going to discuss. The first article, Smoke and a Mirror to Society. The article is taken from the newspaper The Hindu, which is talking about a tragic explosion in a firecracker factory in Gujarat, which resulted into death of migrant workers from Madhya Pradesh. And in this topic, we will be discussing what are the reasons and what can be done. And the next is a people still waiting to move out of the margins. The article is taken from the newspaper The Hindu. The article is talking about the challenges faced by the transgender communities in India. So in this topic, we will be discussing what are those challenges from the article. And next, we will see what are the measures that we have taken or can be taken to ensure the better representation and empowerment of the transgender community in India. So without much delay, let's begin our discussion with the first article. Smoke and a Mirror to Society. The article is taken from the newspaper The Hindu, which is talking about a tragic explosion at an illegal firecracker factory in Gujarat, which resulted into death of 21 migrant workers from Madhya Pradesh, including minors, on April 2nd, 2025. And coming to the UPSC, this topic is relevant in Mains GS Paper 3 under the topic Disaster Management, Environmental Issues and Governance. So let us discuss more about the Firecracker Blast. So according to the National Crime Record Bureau, in 2022, nearly 170 deaths occurred in India due to the explosion. And most of the incidents are frequently happening in Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra and Gujarat. And many of these cases, the major victims are migrant workers and child workers. And most of the cases are often going underreported. So now we are going to see what are the causes behind the incident in Gujarat. First is the illegal operation. The license for the manufacturing unit actually got expired in the last year, that is in 2024, but still they continued production with no valid permission. And the next is lack of safety norms. That means the manufacturing unit was running violating all the provisions in the Factories Act of 1949. So as per the Factory Act of 1949, there should be proper fire safety and ventilation and first aid in every industry. But in the Gujarat factory, there was nothing. And the next is the presence of explosive substance such as aluminum powder and yellow detritus. And we know that some of the ventilation is, especially the ventilation, is very important in explosive manufacturing units, because some substance can even create explosion at room temperature. And the next is the migrant workers exploitation. We know that the 21 workers who died in the incident are migrant workers from Madhya Pradesh, and they are untrained to handle the explosive substance, and they are also they also received only poor wages. That means in the Indian rupees 500 to 1000 per box. And the next is the exploitation of the children. That means the 8 victims in the incident were under the age of 18. And this two are indicating the exploitation of the migrant workers, and the child labor are indicating the widening economic inequality in the country. And the next is weak monitoring. That means even 15 days before the incident, the officers came to inspect the factory. They know that the license got expired, but still they didn't seal the factory. They did not take any step against the factory managers. And the next is local influence. This type of people who are running this type of factories and all, they will definitely have local political shielding and the monopoly over a particular region. So therefore, taking actions against such people are also very difficult. And now we are going to see some of the relevant legislations to deal with the Firecracker Blast or Fire Blast. The first is Explosives Act of 1884, and the next is Explosive Substance Act 1909. It controls manufacturing and handling of the explosives. So note that both acts are enacted during the time of British period. And the next is the Factories Act of 1948. So it ensures the so as per the norms of the Factories Act of 1948, there should be proper ventilation, first aid and other facilities. So therefore, it ensures the worker safety and welfare in the industrial settings. And the next is Child Labor Act 1986, which prohibits the child labor in hazardous industry. And there is no doubt that the firecracker manufacturing units are hazardous sectors. And the next is a Migrant Workers Act 1979. As per the Migrant Workers Act, the employer has to register the worker's name to make sure that they are getting benefits and the safety. So here the problem is the employer has to register. That is the issue. And the next is challenges in enforcing these legislations or challenges in dealing with or preventing such incidents. The first is fragmented oversight. That is, licensing, labor issues and safety are handled by different agencies of the government. And the next is corruption. So that means the political and administrative shielding for, in the case of Gujarat itself, the factory runners have a very good political shielding. So taking a step against them is also very difficult because of this administrative or political shielding. And the next is poor interstate coordination. You can see that the all 21 people who died in the incident are from Madhya Pradesh, and there is no record or protection for the MP workers in Gujarat. And the next is outdated law. Like I mentioned, the Explosive Substance Act 1908 or the Factory Act of 1884, both are enacted during the time of British period. The first Factory Act was brought during the time of Ripon, and the second Factory Act came during the time of Elgin II. So both Factories Act came during the time of British period only. And the Explosive Substance Act of 1908, actually that was one of the act enacted against the Indian, against the Indians during the time of for protesting against the Bengal partition. So both laws are colonial era laws that needs a lot of change because that does not reflect the modern risk. And the next is judicial delays. That means FIRs filed but no convictions are taken, or no steps are taken against such people are also making the people to lose their confidence in the judiciary as well. So what can be done? First is strengthening the inspections. That means surprise checks or compulsory safety audits has to be done. And the next is strict penal action, which includes fast track trials and persecuting officers who are engaged in corruption. And the next is the support for migrant workers. That means extensive coverage of the Eastern portal and ensuring portable social security. That means a social security scheme which provides a benefit to the workers everywhere in India. And the Eastern portal, we know that this portal provides, it's a portal for the workers who are working in the unorganized sector. So compulsory registration has to be done. So as per the Migrant Worker Act of 1979, the employer is responsible for registering the workers, but this has to be changed. And the next is the child labor rehabilitation, that is expanding cash transfers and skilling for the rescued children, and also providing them for physical as well as psychological rehabilitation. This has to be done. The next is victim support. That means establishing a proper sufficient accident fund, and and also distribution of this fund via the district legal service authority. So this can be done to ensure the security and the livelihood of the people who lost their breadwinners in these type of incidents or accidents. So in this topic we discussed what are the reasons behind the fire blast and what can be done. So based on our discussion, try to answer this mains practice question. The question is, in the context of repeated firecracker factory incidents in India, discuss the institutional and legal gaps that will lead to such tragedies. Suggest the measures to ensure safety, labor welfare and environmental sustainability. And this is a 10 marks question, and you have to write around 150 words, write the answer and post it in the comment section. We will review and we will reply for your answer. Now it's time to move to the next article. If people still waiting to move out of the margins. The article is taken from the newspaper The Hindu. Why we are discussing this article today? Because we know that the 31st March is observed as the International Transgender Day of Visibility. And yes, transgender community, one of the least represented and often marginalized communities in the society. But these days we can see that various governments have taken a lot of initiatives for their empowerment and better representation. One such initiative taken by the government of India is the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act in 2019. But here also we have some real world challenges related to the implementation of these efforts. So we will discuss that, and that is the content discussed in the Hindu article 2. And coming to the UPSC relevance, so you can see that the topic is relevant in the GS paper 3 under the topic inclusive growth and issues arising from it. And you can also expect questions related to the community, gender and various societies in the GS paper 1 under the topic society. So let's begin our discussion. So before getting into the discussion, let me ask you a question. What is meant by gender? Gender refers to an internal sense where a person identifies as man or women. And we know that the difference between sex and gender. So gender is an internal sense, while the sex is a biological feature of a human. So the question is, then who is a transgender person? Transgender person refers to a person whose gender identity or behavior is not aligning with the sex assigned at the time of his or her birth. Or simply we can say that it is a condition where a male trapped in female body or a female trapped in a male body. And according to the 2011 census, India is a home to nearly 4 lakh plus transgender people. And we know that we are talking about an inclusive development, inclusive growth. Therefore, it is a high time to consider their concerns as well as, for their, it is high time to take initiatives for their development as well. So, but these initiatives are, facing a lot of challenges. So we will discuss the challenges one by one. The first major issue is the weak implementation. So we know that we have heard about something called the SMILE initiative. SMILE initiative refers to the supporting marginalized individuals, livelihood and empowerment, and this initiative is brought under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. And under the SMILE initiative, we have a national portal for the transgender people, and in this national portal for transgender people, nearly 24,000 plus people applied for ID card, but only 15,000 plus. That means only 65% of them only received the ID card. The next is the legal gap. That means that we have the 2019 Act, but there is a concern that it does not fully align with the global standard of self-determination. And this 2019 Act also has another issue. It is also going against or it is also have certain conflict with the other acts in India. For example, you might have heard about the case called Mr. X versus State of Karnataka 2024. So in this case, what happened is that a person applied for ID card after the surgery, but what happened was the registrar of birth and death, he claimed that due to this Birth and Death Act of 2019, a person's details in the birth certificate cannot be changed. So this act is going it is coming in conflict with the Birth and Death Act of 1969. But finally the Supreme Court the High Court ruled in favor of the person only. Okay, so we can see that these type of issues are there. So finally this results in weak implementation as well as legal gaps. So this has to be addressed. And the next challenge is the economic exclusion. So as per the National Human Rights Commission 2018 report, nearly 92% of the transgender people are excluded from the mainstream economic activities, and the unemployment rate is also another concern. That is 48% unemployment is 48% in the transgender community, which is much higher than the national average of 7 to 8%. And the next is the poor healthcare. That means according to the National Legal Service Authority report, nearly 27% of the transgender population are denied from getting proper medical care. And finally, the gender affirming surgeries are not widely covered under various schemes. We have the Ayushman Bharat TG Plus initiative, but that provides 5 lakh rupees for the transgender person, for their health. But we have to address the problems faced by the people in the post-surgery time as well. And the next is the problems in the education and the finance sector. So in the education, we know that the people, the children belongs to the LGBTQI community are often subjected to various problems like isolation, bullying, and lack of support from the institution. And you can see that as per the 2011 census, the literacy rate in the transgender community is just 56.1%, which is much lesser than the national average of 74%. And the next is a financial inclusion. So the world is talking about a pink economy, which means inclusion of the people from the LGBTQI community in the mainstream economic activities. And as a part of this, we can see that recently in 2024, the Ministry of Finance allowed the LGBTQI community to open joint bank accounts with their spouse. But still, there are problems related to the limited access to the credit and insurance. So what can be done? We discussed what are the issues. So what can be done? First is the effective policy implementation. That means simplifying the ID card issuance. So as per the current system, the chapter 3 of the the Transgender Protection Act talks about the recognition of identity. So as per this, a person has to file the application before the DM, that is district magistrate. So if it is necessary, then the person has to go through a physical as well as psychological examination, and after the psychological examination, within 30 days the ID card will be issued. And within another 15 days, the details in all official documents, including the passport, will be changed. But the time-bound implementation of the service is a matter of concern. And the next is the economic empowerment. That means taking affirmative hiring. That means providing a standalone law or a provision for the protection of the LGBTQ people in the workplace. That can be done. And the next is steps for inclusive banking. That means proper credit facility and other banking services has to be provided. And the next is skill programs for the empowerment of the transgender community. And the next is the education reforms. That means including the bringing a gender sensitive curriculum, which creates more awareness among the children as well. And the next is providing scholarship and safe education ambience will empower will encourage the children from the LGBTQ community to attend the school and colleges. And the next is the healthcare. In the healthcare, we have to train the staff, and we have to expand the Ayushman Bharat TG Plus initiative. And at the same time, we have to provide special insurance policy or schemes to address the gender affirming procedures, which covers both the pre-surgery as well as the post-surgery issues. And the next is the legal. That means we have to revise the 2019 Act for self-identification. That means we know that, like I mentioned, it has certain conflict with the 1969 Birth and Death Act. So this has to be addressed, right? And at the same time, we have to go for strict anti-discrimination law implementation. And the next is encouraging the transgender community in media and in culture. For example, we have to make the media more inclusive to encourage the better representation of the transgender community and other communities belongs to the LGBTQIA. And the next is encouraging the cultural activities like Kuvagam festival. Kuvagam is actually a village in Tamil Nadu, and the Kuvagam festival is a worship or related to the Aravan, a god mentioned in Mahabharata. So here the transgender people from various parts of India as well as various parts of the world will also participate in this issue. And we can also support other popular campaigns like I Am Also Human campaign to create better awareness about the transgender community, their challenges and their concerns. So in this topic, we discussed what are the challenges associated with the implementation of the government schemes, and then we discussed what can be done. And based on our discussion, try to answer this mains practice question. The question is, despite progressive legislation like the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2019, transgender individuals continue to face exclusion and discrimination in India. Examine the challenges faced and suggest comprehensive measures to ensure inclusive development. And this is a 10 marks question, and you have to write around 150 words. Write the answer, post it in the comment section. We will review and we will reply for your article. With this, we are coming to the conclusion for today's editorial analysis. If you like the video, hit the like button, give your feedbacks as comments, and share this content with your friends. And before leaving this channel, don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time update from Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for listening to me. Have a nice day.